friends, and welcome back to my crafty space where I share my memory keeping projects and processes with all of you. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. My name is Crystal and I am super excited that you guys are all here today. Today I am putting together another spread inside my Pocket Page notebook. So if you are unfamiliar with a Pocket Page notebook, it is essentially a book where it's a traveler's notebook sized album of sorts, where every other page is actually a pocket that you can slide something into. So this is going to be my third page in this book. I use this to document kind of an all about me. It's really a place where I can just journal some of my own personal thoughts and feelings and just, that sort of thing. And I typically do about one spread each month. So I have one for the month of March, and then I have one for the month of April, and then now I am working on my spread for May. So my plan for this spread is to use the Allie Edwards Digital Stories by the Month kit from May in order to create the pieces that I'm going to be putting on this spread. I have them actually printed already and already created here on my table, but I will, before we assemble this, I will take you over to the computer to show you how I created this using Photoshop, the individual pieces. And then the actual assembling portion is going to be really pretty quick, if I'm honest. So I have a full page photo, a full page journaling page, and then I also created this acetate piece that says it's hard. Let me get a piece of white so you can see it. It says, "It's hard because it's hard." This was from a journaling card that I just took out the words, rearranged them in order to make the acetate so that it would fit on top of this photo and not cover anybody's face. So let's go over to the computer. I'll show you how I put these pieces together, and then we will come back here and I will get this thing assembled. Okay, you guys, so before we get to assembling this project, I first wanted to show you how I altered two of the journaling cards for this week's project. So this is the general idea of what this spread is going to look like when it's done. And I altered two cards in order to create this from the Allie Edwards Digital Stories by the Month from May 2020. So first is this this rainbow journaling card. So all that I did to create the page for my journaling was I created a new canvas that's sized at 4.25 by 8.25 inches, 300 pixels per inch with a white background. Then I went back over to my card. I selected all of it and copied and then pasted it onto my white background. Now, as you can see, the card white and the white of my background are slightly off. So I'm going to take my eyedropper tool, pick up the color on the actual card, then go to my paint bucket, make sure my background is selected, and paste that color right on there. Now I want this rainbow to take up more of the bottom, so I am just going to select it and then enlarge it so that it fills up the entire bottom portion, hit the enter button, and now I've got my background. So I am going to go ahead and merge these layers together. Then I am going to grab my text tool, make sure I've got everything the way that I want it, and create a text box where my journaling will go. So I'm going to do it just like this. I need to change my text color back to black. There we go. And then I can just go ahead and fill in my journaling here. Let's just do that for now. And it's going to look like something like this, okay? And then I can adjust it and put it wherever I want it to go before I print it off. So that is the journaling page right here. Now the next part of this is this acetate piece. So I wanted, if I hide my photo, you can see it better. I want to put this quote, "It's hard because it's hard," on some clear acetate, and then that is what I am planning to slide down inside of my pocket page notebook. So to create this piece, I am going to use this card right here that says it's hard because it's hard. So first of all, what I want to do is to once again create a new canvas that's same size, 4.25 by 8.25. Then I am going to come over to the journaling card itself. I'm going to use my marquee tool, and the first thing I want to do is select this yellow bit at the bottom. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle around it, right click, and layer whichever one, via copy or via cut. It really doesn't matter. Then with that layer selected, I am going to hit copy or Control C and paste Control V, because I want this little yellow line at the bottom just for some added color and interest. So I'm going to put it in, enlarge it to fill the whole bottom, and move it into place. So now my yellow is there. So next, I am going to work on the quote itself. So I'm going to make sure that this background is selected, and again, I'm going to grab that marquee tool. Then I'm just going to draw boxes around each individual word and do the same thing. So this I might just do layer via cut, that way I can see what I have or have not done. And then these pieces are what I'm going to use to make the title, obviously. So let me go ahead and do this, and then we will move on to the next step. Okay, so then we're going to go grab our move tool again, and one at a time we're just going to grab these layers, copy them, and paste them over onto our larger canvas. So actually I can just select a whole bunch of them and copy, and then we'll paste them all over here. So I wanted for these two words to stay together because I want this to have like a stacked or staggered look to it. And I want everything to be left justified. So I'm just going to grab each piece and move it over. And then I might just have to use my arrow keys on my keyboard to make sure everything is nice and in place. I think that looks good. And I want to make this entire thing larger. So I'm going to select all of those word pieces. I'm not going to do the bottom, just the word pieces. And then I can go ahead and enlarge the whole thing until it fills up the space that I want it to. So now we've got the it's hard because it's hard. I'm trying to leave, like, this whole box can go in the middle of the page. I want to leave a little bit of room on both sides in case I need to trim off a portion of the page in order to fit it into that pocket. And so this is looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and merge all of these layers together into one. And now the last thing I want to do, we're going to unlock this layer so now I can edit the layer. If your layer is locked, you are unable to do edits to the background because it's considered the background if it's just one layer. So then I'm going to grab my magic wand tool, and I'm going to select the white. I also need to select the white portions on the insides of these letters just because it didn't grab it. I think there's just 3 more. And then, nope. And then I'm going to not right click. I'm just going to hit the delete button, and it's going to delete that white background right off. I can unselect it, and now we've got this acetate looking piece. So I can copy the whole thing, and if I put it, let's say I put it over here on this. Nope. Wrong thing. I need to make sure this is selected. So making sure that the layer is selected, I can then copy it and then paste it, and now I've got this acetate piece, which I know would go directly at the bottom. So that's how I can make it look like that on here. If I wanted to print it on my photo, I could do it just like that. I'm also using a little chipboard piece up here too, but this is going to be an interactive element that flips over because it goes inside the pocket. So now I'm going to go ahead and put a background back on it. So I'm just going to go up to Layer and New. Actually, I want to create a new layer because that's the layer that needs to become the background. I'm going to move it below the acetate piece and then go back up to layer again, new, and then we're going to select, if I can get there, oh my goodness, this is killing me. Why? Okay, and we're going to select background from layer, and then that will put a white background back on it again. Okay, so let's unselect this, and then I can go ahead and print all of these elements off. I'm going to close out of that. So the journaling page I'm going to print on plain white cardstock. The acetate piece I'm going to print on graphics, like, what is it called? Transparency, graphics transparency. So let me go ahead and get that done, and I will meet you guys back at the desk. Okay, so we've got everything printed off here, and we are just going to get to work on assembling this project together. It is actually going to be really super quick because it's just a bunch of cutting things out and taping them down. I did print out this photo on a piece of 8.5 by 11 glossy photo paper, but I also had a few other photos on it for another project that I just cut off. So I just needed to like trim up those lines and make it look nice. Then I'm going to go ahead and put together this chipboard piece. So I am going to cut it out, fussy cut it out. I would have preferred to keep some kind of white, like a very small white border around it, but I accidentally cut too close to the piece. So I will just cut off all the white and it'll just be totally yellow, which honestly, that's okay too. So I will fussy cut it out here with the white outline around it. Then I pull over some recycled box material to adhere to the back of it, just to bulk it up a little bit. I'm going to add 2 layers of it. It's just really thin, like cardboard, really thin cardboard. So that just gives it a little bit of dimension and helps my page not feel so flat, even though it is going to be pretty flat this time. And that's okay too, because this is a traveler's notebook, so I don't want it to be too bulky. I just also don't want it to be too bland. So yes, that's why I'm going to add some dimension to that piece. Then once I do that, I will go ahead and tape in my photo. So this was a photo that was taken I want to say it was last week. It might have been the week before last. And Jonah was having a hard day. He was just being fussy. And I don't know if he fell and hurt himself or if he was just, honestly, he probably was just upset. He hates it when we're hanging out in the basement, me, him, and Isabella, and I have the TV on for them. Our basement is finished, so we have like carpet, and it's our main living area is our basement. So we go down there and watch TV and hang out, and the toy room is down there. My craft room is down there. And if I go upstairs and I leave him down there with the gate closed, he freaks out. So most likely that's what this picture was from me simply walking upstairs and him freaking out. So anyway, so I picked him up and I was, what do I want to say? I was comforting him and helping him to feel better. And I took a picture because I don't have very many pictures like that. And I was documenting that week for Week in the Life. So I wanted to get some more, realistic photos, right, of my everyday to put in my album. So I have this picture and he's a little bit teary and my head's cut off, but that's okay. I really like that picture of the two of us, even though he's sad. So I went ahead and adhered that down to the right side of my spread. Then I'm going to cut out my journaling page and get that adhered in as well. It's just going in straight like that. It's got a lot of journaling on it. And then the last thing I will do, other than just some slight embellishments, is to cut out the acetate piece, which turned out really cool. So I'm just going to trim that out and get it into the pocket that goes in between. So it's like the flip element in this spread. I do trim an extra little bit off of each of the sides, which I'm really glad that when I did this piece digitally that I accounted for that, because I did need to cut off a little bit extra. While I am doing that, let me go ahead and read you guys my journaling this week. So my whole project for this week was inspired by the It's Hard Because It's Hard journaling card or filler card. So I took that as my writing prompt to talk about how things are just kind of hard, and they're hard because they're hard. So my journaling says, these past 53 days have had a lot of good moments and a lot of down moments. While I'm doing my best to focus on the good and look for the beauty in the everyday, it is impossible to ignore that these days have also been hard. Sometimes I almost feel guilty even saying that. I still have a job. I'm able to work from home. We have food on the table. Technology is helping us to stay in contact with our family. There is a lot to be grateful for. Sometimes it's just hard because it's hard. It's hard to be a full-time mom all day, try to find time to craft where I can, and then be a part-time worker at night. It's hard getting up early after staying up until midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., trying to get all of my accounting work done or breaking myself out of the crafty zone after a kid-filled day. It's hard doing the same thing over and over, day after day. Ironically, it's also hard sticking to a regular schedule and keeping structure to our days. It's hard not seeing family all the time and feeling like our relationships have become surface level because the depth of our conversations feel limited by the physical distance between us. I miss normal life. Right now, things feel hard, but it's because they really are hard. So I chose this week to do some introspective journaling on why this time specifically is hard. And like I said, I do sometimes feel guilty even saying that because we have it pretty good considering, what others are going through right now. But I guess that doesn't mean that it's easy either, right? So it just was a good opportunity to really sit down and reflect on what is making this hard, and at the same time, what is there to be grateful for. So anyway, that is that. So that's my journaling. While I was reading it to you, I did go and find a roll of washi tape just to add a little bit of decoration to the top of that journaling page. And then I will go ahead and put down that chipboard piece up in the right-hand corner of the upper right-hand corner of my photo. And that is pretty much going to complete the spread. So again, super easy, but turned out great. So let's go ahead and we'll slow you guys back down. All right, you guys, so that finishes this spread for today, and I am super happy with how it all came out. I love the way that the words here works with the photo. I love the big, huge section where I was able to add a bunch of journaling and thoughts to. That is one of my favorite things about this book, is that I'm able to use it almost like a personal journal for myself. And I find it really cathartic to sit down once a month and just journal my thoughts at that moment. I really love it. And I would love to encourage you guys to try doing something like that too. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I will see you guys again on Monday for another story project in a story album, and tomorrow on Instagram I will be sharing my next sketch for the week. So hopefully you guys will come on over there and check out the new sketch, or come back on Monday and we'll put together another story together. Until then, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and if you are doing Week in the Life, hopefully I will see you later today at the Week in the Life class. I will definitely be there to get some inspiration for getting my album started. Okay, so yes, until then, have a fantastic day, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye now.